great.
That's
Anything
it.
to discuss?
All right, so this is Challenger Sales Institute Spring 2023 finals. So we will get started in just a minute, and we're going to live stream this to the end. And so I'm going to adjust the camera here and send Jeremy a link. Copy. Is it not letting me do this? Just 1 second.
And are you going to run the timer?
I will run the timer.
Okay, we got the timer going for the other one.
Okay. All right. So,
Are they going to hear us in between the top? Are they going to hear us?
It's hot mic, isn't it?
Should be. But,
So can we wait till it's all over before we discuss?
he could probably hit the mute.
I don't think I can. So let me go back to this. All right. Let me make sure that you can see.
Yeah. Yeah. I can read it.
I like the shoes too. Stylish.
Oh, thanks.
Was it comfy? But you don't have to tie them up anymore. That's always good.
Yeah, I could be so long.
You guys are slide on it? Yeah. Even these boots is oh, really? Yeah. Those are nice. They fit really well.
He's supposed to be sending it to me.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
Send it to me too, Wade.
I'm just gonna send it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You ready to wrap there?
What are we waiting on?
The link to go out.
Got it. Okay.
You may not this one.
Did you get the stream link yet?
I got it.
Okay, so I'm Grant's right there. Just
Okay, so we're ready to go?
as long as Grant says so.
All right.
So.
You're ready to start, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna talk.
Hi, Mr. Dale Brown.
Yeah.
Hi, Chase Harshmark, Let's Travel Styles.
Yeah, just.
First of all, before we get down to business, I do just want to talk about just how proud you must be of your business and 25 years of success that you've had going forward.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I don't know if you're aware or not of an incident that just happened recently.
I was just
Jeffrey?
just filled in a little.
You are, what do you know?
So what I know is that it happened, and I'd love to learn more about that.
I'll tell you. But I want to know what you know. What do you know about it?
All that I know is that as it stands now, there was an incident with a speed co.
Mm-hmm.
I just got off a call 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
And I'd love to learn more about it from you.
Okay, yeah, so what happened was one of our trucks were stopped at the Speedco in Guthrie, to have a valve stem repaired on a tire.
Right.
And evidently, one of your mechanics left, one of the tools out, and whenever the truck pulled away, on the trailer tire, going down the road, it punctured it, caused a puncture, and it's hauling aviation equipment. And we're looking at about $1 million loss right now because of the load, because it caused the crash.
$1 million loss to Crystal Lake.
Yeah,
So, okay, $1 million.
yeah.
So the meeting time for this is around 15 to 17 minutes still, so we
Mhm.
can talk about this. And so, starting off with that $1 million load, I want to learn more about that.
I just told you, it's
Yeah.
$1 million.
$1 million. So I want to talk and I want to learn more about the implications and how that can hurt your business.
It's $1 million. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And with that, whenever we're looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
so you mentioned it was at a speed co in Guthrie,
Yep, just happened.
just happened,
Mm-hmm.
$1 million load.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
So, I mean, obviously you guys are gonna be on the hook for that. You guys are gonna have to pay me back for that, because I mean, this is my interest, this is one of my carriers that, I mean, shippers that I haul the most for. And, I mean, they're not gonna accept the fact that the load didn't get delivered because of that, and we'll lose the contract, and we'll have to pay for it.
Okay. So, and so you mentioned that this is somebody that you do a lot of business with.
Yeah.
So on top of the $1 million
Mm-hmm.
that we're talking here, what could be the further implications of this actually happening?
I don't know much further would be worse than losing. A person would have to pay $1 million out of my pocket.
Right.
We can start with that.
Yeah.
You got $1 million?
Not currently on it.
Yeah, me either. That's so, who's gonna pay for that? So is that something you guys are gonna be willing to cover?
So here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Whenever we're looking at something like that,
Mhm.
we need to realize where, instead of from your pocket and instead of from our pocket, where would we be able to actually get that? And what I'm looking at right now is what we could do is we would be able to,
Here's the thing, it doesn't seem like you know. So, I mean, if you need to step out and call somebody, I would do it, because, I mean, the other things that may be on your agenda to talk about, which, you know, I'm sure they're important, but at the moment, this is the most important thing I have, and I need to know if I'm gonna be doing business with a company like Love's, that you stand behind.
right, of course, and I completely understand that. I'd love to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And as your rep at Love's,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that we're able to get to the bottom of this.
Good.
As it stands now, I would need to learn more about, like, first of all, so you mentioned that it was a tool that was just left out and then it punctured a wheel,
Punctured a tire.
punctured a tire.
Mhm.
And then whenever that happened, how far away from the Love's was it?
Not far at all. It
No.
was just, not far at all. So it happened, the accident happened right in front of the location. You
Okay.
can't go very far with a punctured wheel.
Right. And whenever we're looking at that, so $1 million from us. So I want to find a solution that we can get through this and make sure that we're both able to get out of this. And if we're looking at what caused that, so did you have any, say, insurance on the travel, on the actual goods
Why
themselves?
do I need to have insurance? I mean, what am I gonna insure something that you caused an accident for?
Well, whenever you're traveling with such a heavy, like, expensive load like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's of course beneficial to make sure that whenever you get into,
You know, I've been in trucking for a long time.
I
You
completely
did explain to me about insurance
Right.
for loads. So if there's somebody you need to call and get an answer for it, if this is gonna be something that your boss feel confident that you guys will be able to take care of, then we can continue talking about other stuff.
right. So what I'd like to do is, after this meeting, I'd love to get Todd Wilson on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
one of my bosses. I know that he knows a lot about this. I know that he would be able to help us. I know he's been through things like this before. He's been with Loves a lot,
Yeah,
and he's seen everything.
sounds like a smart guy. I'd go call him if I was you.
I think after this meeting, I'd love to go call him.
Mhm.
But as it stands now, I'd love to just talk more about, like, on top of that, like, once we get past that, because I believe that at Love's, we would be able to not only overcome that, but
Mhm.
help you grow and make sure that you're continuing to sustain that growth. And I'd love to talk more about that. And then I'd love to set up a meeting with Todd and make sure that we're able to actually get to the bottom of this. Does that sound good?
What sounds better is you calling Todd right now and being able to find out if this is something that you at least feel confident that he knows about. I just told you all the details that you said that you evidently didn't know. So to me, I think it'd be important for you, because I really could care less about the next two things that you probably want to talk about until I know at least that this Todd guy's in the loop on this, and that you at least come back and tell me that you're confident that this can be something you guys can work with.
Absolutely. So I'd love to.
So I've got the time, I've got a few minutes, so if you want to
Few
step out
minutes?
and call him, I'd
Yeah,
recommend you do that.
Absolutely. I'll step out, call Todd, come
Good
back.
idea. Yep, let me know.
So I just got off the phone with Todd.
Okay,
And he says that we've been in a situation like this before.
okay,
And they were able to get it handled.
okay,
I'm not exactly sure how,
okay,
but he says that he's done this before
okay,
and that we're able to fix this for you.
okay.
So with that being settled, will we be able to move on to the next two things that
It
we
makes
want
me
to
feel a
talk
lot
about?
better now, at least that you've talked to him
Mhm.
and that I have some assurance that he's in the loop about this.
Right.
Then sure, I still got some time left.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it okay if I just ask you a few questions
Sure.
and learn more about it?
Yeah.
So whenever we were talking to Marty,
Yep.
what happened was we were talking about the discounts and the discount rates that we would be able to give comparable to Pilot.
Yep.
And from what I heard from him, what you said is that you were a little hesitant because of the variable rates.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
For factory, yeah.
right. And whenever we're looking at that, what we really need to get into is what do you want to get out of factoring?
But I want to make money. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, hopefully, my son, I've taught them well enough to know, Matt and Marty, that only way we're going to grow this business is to continue to save.
Absolutely.
And so, the way we do that is obviously to be more profitable. And so, I look at the factory and having a factoring arm for my company that will be able to offer something where we can make money and grow the business. So, I've already talked with Bank First,
Mm-hmm.
and they've offered me 0.5% below prime.
Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've done all my banking with them for a long time, so I have a long-term relationship with them.
Right. And so that 0.5% below prime, what would that additional money faster? What would that do for your business?
Gosh, if you annualize that, I mean, that could be worth, I don't know, $2 or $3 million a year, honestly, which, it could be significant.
Right. And with that $2 and $3 million a year,
Mhm.
how would you be able to use that in order to grow your business? Keep on saving money, but also focus on the issues at hand.
Oh, adding more trucks, paying drivers more, all those types of things.
Right.
Retire faster.
Absolutely. And whenever you're looking at adding more trucks,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the long-term implications of that? How would your business continue to grow?
Well, we'll just be able to haul more as we grow, be more competitive. There's just fleets out there that are bigger than us, but as we've slowly grown through the years, it would help us continue to do that.
Right. And if I were able to say, make it to where Loves could not only save you 0.5% over prime, but slightly more in order to increase that value that we give to you, would we be able to get a contract up and get that signed?
Sure.
So what I'd love to talk about, I'd love to just move into a little bit of a presentation about factoring and about Loves.
Yep.
So whenever we're looking at our factoring, you mentioned that they were giving over about 0.5% above prime, below prime, forgive me. And what I would love to do is I would love to not only do that, but I would love to maybe take it a little further, further than 0.5% below prime. I think here at Loves, what we could do, because we're a family business and we know that it's all about culture, it's all about family, keeping that in mind. What I'd love to do is just for you guys, I'd love to go maybe 0.75% below prime. And that would not only increase the amount that you're saving from 2 to 3 million to 3 to 4.5 million a year. You'll be able to hire more trucks, you'll be able to get more trucks on the road and make it to where you're able to retire even faster.
That's fantastic.
So whenever we're looking at factoring, we're new to the factoring game a little, but what we really wanted to do is we wanted to actually be able to increase and really kind of reshape the idea of factoring. We wanted to be able to be there for you guys and make sure that you are able to increase profitability and get that money faster and guarantee that payment for you.
Well, again, this will be something that I'll be pushing out to the brokers. So it's not me that needs the money, but
Right.
getting the money faster is great.
Absolutely right.
So if you can beat the bank first rate, then I'm game.
I believe that we could,
What about the retreads?
the retreads.
So what about the retread pricing? What's the, I've had, my understanding was we had a couple issues just from retreads. So tell me more about that, how you can save on that.
Right. So as it stands now, are you doing your retreads with Loves specifically, or are you just going around and just getting whatever?
I would say getting around whatever. We're buying a lot. We're buying several from you. We've had some problems with some of them in the past.
Right.
But it's a necessary thing that we need for traders.
I completely understand. So if we were able to save you that money on retreads and make sure that you are able to not only get that done faster, but also more effectively in order to save your business money, how would that sound?
What's great, the key here is the quality control.
Right.
That's the most important thing on a retread.
Right.
Is you can't afford to have downtime, you can't afford to have a blowout.
Right.
We've got summertime's coming right around the corner, so obviously we'd be having more tires. So I need to have some kind of assurance from you, the quality is there.
Right. So with our retreads at Loves, what we'd love to do is if you were to, instead of just going to anyone, if you were to shop more at Loves, we'd be able to offer you a significantly higher deal and make sure that you're able to save that money, but also increase the quality. Because with Loves, what we do is we have a trusted 5-step process to make sure that the retreads on there are able to withstand summer heat. They're Michelin grade, so that means that they're not going to pop whenever it's hot, whenever they've been driving for a while.
You guarantee that?
Well, we can't. It's not a guarantee like anything, but what we can guarantee is the highest quality. We can guarantee that whenever we're looking at our retreads, they go through a 5-step inspection process and making sure that the retreads that go on there really are the best in the industry. So if we were able to save you, say like one blowout, time is money in this industry.
100%.
And a blowout on the road takes an average of 4 hours.
Yep.
If we're looking at that, let's say that on average for a truck on the road, you make about $100 an hour. If we were to save you one blowout a week, that's $400 times 52 weeks. And that is a lot of money saved right there. If we could do that, would we be able to get a contract signed and really just keep this partnership moving forward?
What kind of a warranty process do you have? Because that's the other thing about it is when these tires blow out, I don't want to have to, carry the carcass of it back and back to my shop to be analyzed. Like, what kind of a warranty program do you have?
At Loves, we take full faith in our work, and we believe that the work we do is top notch. So we have a full warranty to where if a tire were to pop before it's due, you'll be able to take it back to the shop and get a new retread on us. So with that being said, we would be able to save you money because let's say a tire pops early. Tires aren't cheap. You are spending a lot of money on tires. And if a tire does pop early, bring it back. We will replace that tire.
You'll have to come get it because we'll be on the side of the road, but yeah.
We do have roadside assistance as well in order to help with anything that happens on the side of the road. So our total truck care means that we're able to bring this out to you and we'll get it to you.
Good.
Do you have any further questions?
Just the price of the retreads. I'd like to see a price of what those retreads would be on the price if we were to come all those to you. So if you could get a proposal to me of that would be great. It sounds like we're not done talking about this million because, and I do appreciate you taking it serious enough to call this Todd character. So I'll trust that's going to get taken care of. So between that and the bank first information, I feel like we're on the right path here.
Right.
The $1 million is obviously the most important thing that I'm dealing with right now.
Absolutely.
And so I'd be interested. So follow up on all those three things, and then I think we could get it done.
Absolutely.
But it all starts with the $1 million.
Sounds good. I'll get you an answer to that by later today.
Yep.
And I'd love to set up another meeting so that we get a contract signed.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Man, you really threw me through a loop there. Oh, man.
We'll get you there.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Feel like it, and I'll start.
Yep,
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown, correct?
yep.
Hey, Tim Huffman from Love's.
Hey, Tim.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yep.
How have you been doing today?
Well, that's actually not been a great day.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I guess, are you familiar with what happened in Guthrie earlier today?
I am stop location number 604. That was actually one of the questions I have for you.
Okay.
Please tell me about what happened.
Well, tell me what you know so far, and then I'll fill in the blanks.
My colleague Todd notified me that there was some problem with the Speedco service, although I haven't been filled in all the
Okay.
details. So please lay it on me. What
Happily
happened?
fill you in. So, not happily, but I'll fill you in. So we had one of our trucks, had to get a valve stem repaired, with one of its tires. Took it to your Speedco there in Guthrie, and, your mechanic left the four-way tool out. And what happened when our truck left, it rolled over that, punctured the tire. We didn't even get a quarter mile down the road, and because the tire was damaged, it caused an accident, and it completely damaged the entire load that we were hauling, which is aviation equipment. $1 million.
Well, I'll tell you this much. As a representative of Love's,
Mhm.
even though I wasn't personally responsible for the
Right.
accident, I want to issue you a full and sincere apology
Okay.
for any inconvenience this might have caused your business.
What's $1 million inconvenience?
What's $1 million inconvenience? That's a great question.
Yeah,
Well-
well, I know what it is. It's $1 million.
Yeah, but what it is it's an opportunity to start a conversation. Now, the reason I'm here today is because I want to make certain we have as effective of a conversation as possible. You're
Mhm.
still good for 17 minutes, correct?
We could probably take a lot less than that if we don't figure out this $1 million.
Absolutely, and
So-
that's going to be my main priority. Now,
Good.
the
So-
way that I've structured this agenda,
Yeah, so since your agenda, you probably didn't know this $1 million just happened. I'm
absolutely.
assuming.
And I want to definitely
we
make
put this
certain we
agenda
incorporate
together,
this.
yeah.
Yes.
So that stuff really is not that important to me if we don't get the $1 million fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. So cost is going to be a main priority. Is that correct?
Well, $1 million is my main priority right now.
Mhm,
So yeah, it's gonna come out of my pocket
Cost
because,
efficiency.
because my, Cessna, who I haul this for, they're gonna have to be reimbursed.
Yeah, yeah,
And you guys are the ones that screwed it up.
right.
So what I need to know is some kind of assurance from you that Love's is gonna stand behind us.
Yeah, we absolutely will. Now, I wanted to start this meeting. I had a couple questions for you,
Mhm.
just to clarify some of the details. Then we'll talk more detail about this situation, what we can do to
I want
resolve
to
it.
talk about this situation first. Because
Yeah, yeah, we
otherwise,
can
if this,
absolutely do that.
if this situation doesn't get taken care of, the other things I really get two shits about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of this particular issue, how long have you been using Love's Truck Stops for?
You talked to Marty and Matt, probably 4, 5, 6 years at least.
Yeah, at least 6 years.
Mhm.
And how have your drivers perceived our Speedco stops in the past?
I'm sure fine.
Yeah, probably positive. Most of them tend to have extremely positive reviews. Now, your particular perception of Love Speedco, just in general, ignoring this particular issue, what's your perception of our services?
I can't ignore this issue.
Mhm.
My perception of it right now is I'm $1 million light.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'd like to know from you is that this Todd Wilson, is that who you said you talked to?
Yeah, that's my colleague.
So if I was you, I would think I'd get some assurance from him
Yeah, yeah,
that this is going to be taken care of properly.
it absolutely will. Now, as a Love's employee myself,
Mhm.
I can tell you that whatever accidents we are responsible for, we will absolutely make certain to make it right with you financially.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was actually a little bit curious. What does this mean for the long-term success of your business going into the next
If I
couple
lose
of
$1
years?
million,
Yeah, absolutely. What does that mean for your job and your company?
what does losing $1 million do to my job and my company?
That's absolutely correct.
What do you think it would do?
Probably negative in my off the base.
Yeah, it is negative. So
Yeah,
what I would like for you to do is, it doesn't sound like Todd knew a lot about the situation either.
Mhm.
So I think you probably need to fill him in on this, don't you think?
yeah. I actually got a lot of information from you, and I really appreciate you answering my questions.
Yeah, good.
If we are able to resolve this issue and provide more value to your company going forward, do you think you could see us partnering together?
Sure.
Yeah, and that would probably provide a little bit of an ease of consciousness for you. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, the first thing we need to focus on is how do we pay you back in terms of other services?
No, not really. Because what you need to do first is assure me that that the $1 million is going to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
So what I advise you is, you have a cell phone?
I do.
Yeah, I probably recommend calling your boss,
Yeah, absolutely.
because otherwise you're just wasting my time and yours.
Yeah, and I would definitely want to make sure we're spending our time in the most conscious way possible.
Yeah, so the other stuff you can get on me, I don't really care about.
That's absolutely fine. So here's what we'll do. My boss, Jeremy, unfortunately, I can't call him right
Why?
now, but I am confident.
What's more important than calling him right now?
Unfortunately, he is off base right now.
You
That's-
think he's doing something more important than $1 million?
Perhaps not, but perhaps so. I haven't talked to him yet today. Now, here's what I can do for you, Mr. Brown.
Mhm.
Let me cut out any doubt and just get straight to the point.
You can write me a check for $1 million.
I wish I could. Unfortunately, they don't pay me that much. What we can guarantee is that even if this issue did cost you $1 million, which you have made clear, we have other solutions
I'm not
available in
going
which
to
you
be
can save.
doing any business with you if I don't get my $1 million. So
Yeah.
I think you could pretty much scrap whatever else you were going to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Here's what we can do for you. We have actually 3 different systems that I want to touch on briefly. I understand that this is a priority for you. First of which is just any additional costs that we can provide to you. Second of which is our fuel saving program.
Mhm.
And then finally, the Speedco services ourselves. Now, what I want you to do is, you're probably ranking Speedco as #1 priority right now. Is that correct?
#1 priority to stay the hell away from.
Okay. And then probably fuel and other costs would be second and third. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay, gotcha. Now, here's what we can do for you with regards to Speedco. Now, yes, we did cause a problem and we did cause an inconvenience for you, and it cost you money, and that's an understatement, I understand, Mr. Brown. You've been using our service for 6 years. Are you aware of the fact that Pilot Flying J, who's counter-offered you, does not have a relevant service comparable to Speedco?
I am aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm also aware that I can continue to buy my fuel from them. And if you guys did screw it up, I could still buy tires from you.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is more convenient to do it all in one place. I agree.
And how many drivers do you currently employ?
I'm not sure. Marty would probably know the numbers
He
of that,
gave
but
me
I would
about
say
90, is that correct?
if he told you that, that's
Gotcha.
probably the truth.
So you have 90 drivers, each of which go on 10 to 12 trips per year, and they're each using Love Speedco probably about 100 times per year. Does that sound right?
Sure.
Yeah, so over 6 years, that's 600 instances of the use of Speedco.
Mhm.
And so far, only 1 instance in which it actually cost you any money. Now, I want you to
$1
visualize.
million. So let's divide that. So they're going to divide that by $1 million.
Yeah, I'm not great at math. Do you know that number?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
A whole lot more than you make.
A whole lot more than I make, and that's true. Maybe after my next promotion, it won't be. But here's what we can do for you.
Good now.
Speedco over the next 6 years will save you guys, I promise you, at least $3 million. Now, here's how I know that number.
Mhm.
Every single time one of your drivers skips Speedco because they have in their mind that they were inconvenienced last time, they're putting.
Or the company lost $1 million because they went there.
Yeah, they understand that, hey, my boss told me I can't go to Speedco. What that's doing is it's endangering the lives of your drivers. Now, here's a simple question I have for you, Brown. What's more important, $1 million or the safety and lives of all 90 of your drivers?
Well, if I continue to lose $1 million, I won't have a business to have drivers.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess safety wouldn't really matter as much.
The
if I
safety is
don't have
a
a business.
primary concern, as well as the likelihood of your business surviving. So here's what we'll do for you with Speedco. Because Pilot Flying J does not have a comparable service, what that means is your flyers are going to be more deflated, which costs you money per mile. Your drivers are going to be less equipped to handle breakdowns, engine repairs, and maintenance, which costs you out-of-pocket money.
Mhm.
And because your competitors do not offer a comparable service, you're going to be leaving money on the table. Now, let me shoot it with you straight. We cost you money. We saved you much more money over the last 6 years, and we'll save you money in the long term. Does that make sense?
If what you said was dead accurate, yes.
Absolutely.
But I think you got to remember you're at $1 million hole.
Absolutely. And we want to do everything we can to provide you as much money back as possible. Here's the
$1
next
million,
thing
start
we're
with $1
gonna-
million.
Yeah, and here's the next way we're going to help you save a ton of money. Now, this is our fuel points reward system. Now, you said your drivers do an average of 12 trips per year, correct?
Right, and I'm familiar with this. I mean, here's the situation is, and hopefully Matthew and Marty explain this to you.
Mhm.
Right now, we have been moving our gallons to Pilot Flying J because the fuel price is better. We still have some drivers that continue to go to Love's because your damn points program is so good, right? And our drivers love it, and that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The problem is that it costs me money.
Yeah.
Pilot Flying J is cheaper.
Yeah, yeah.
So your reward program does help my drivers,
Mhm.
but when you ask me how do I grow my business, first it's by not losing $1 million in a day,
Sure.
and second of all, it's by saving money on fuel.
Yeah. So let's talk about saving money on fuel. Now, let's translate this to dollars and cents, right? Seems like you're a numbers guy. Most of your drivers are already platinum. In fact, the majority of them might even qualify for diamond because they're doing over 12 fuels per month.
Mhm.
So let's look at how much that saves you. Now,
Saves me or saves them?
it saves you and the company. Whoever's paying for it out of pocket, it ultimately goes back to you.
I'm
Is
the
that
payer.
correct? Absolutely. So it saves you money. Now, pilot flying jet, yes, they do usually save about 5 to 10 cents per gallon, sure. But every single time one of your drivers uses our Platinum Reward system, they're saving $17.24. Every single time one of your drivers qualifies for Diamond, every single time they fill up a tank, they're saving $22.80. Now, you talk numbers.
So they're saving that, or are they getting that in credits?
They're saving that as well as getting it for credit if they do have in-store credit. Now, $22 over 90 drivers, 12 times a year, 12 times a year, 12 times per month, 12 times a year. You're looking at tens of thousands of dollars right there. That doesn't add up to $1 million overnight. It will add up to $1 million over the next 6 years if you count the math. So we're saving
It's
you.
taking 6 years to get paid back for what happened today.
So Speedco will pay you that back over the next couple of months, right? All of the routine maintenance and services that we provide you have already given you more than $1 million worth of value. Again, I apologize for any inconvenience we might have given you. The fuel will save you money in the long run because we can beat their prices with our discounts. You mentioned your drivers love our discounts, correct?
They love the rewards.
This is the reason why. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some transparency issues that I have noticed. Are you aware, Mr. Brown, that Pilot Flying J charges each driver $99 annually just to access internet?
No.
And are you aware that Pilot Flying J actually charges each of your drivers individually to park closer to the store?
No.
Imagine if you didn't understand these transparency costs, what other costs is PFJ hiding from you?
Mhm.
If you're doing the math, $99 just for internet per driver over the course of a year adds up to $10,000 for your fleet of 90 individuals.
So that would mean, you said $10,000 a year?
$10,000 annually.
So after 100 years, that you pay back $1 million.
Absolutely. And when you compare all of these services together, we're providing you way more value. Yes, we did mess up, but over 6 years of our service, only one instance to this degree, I think that deserves a little bit of accomplishment. So in summation, our
I don't
Speedco
want to pat
services,
myself on the back.
that's okay. Now, our Speedco services are saving you guys fuel, are saving you guys maintenance repairs, saving you guys costs, putting your drivers in a safer position, which you mentioned is most important. Our fuel rewards program is extremely competitive and will be saving you more money than the comparative costs. And imagine what costs
So
Pilot Flying J
this
is not
this
charging.
is money that goes to me or goes to the driver?
Is your driver or yourself paying for the gas?
Diesel's what goes in trucks, and I pay, and I'm the one who pays for it.
Yeah, so you pay for it. So this is what you're saving your drivers and saving yourself and your company. Now, I've gone through a lot of information, so I want to give it back to you. What questions do you have for me?
Well, other than the obvious one that I don't feel overly comfortable yet, because it doesn't seem like this Jeremy guy has time to worry with my $1 million. So my only question just would be is, what is the pricing on the retreads?
Mhm.
And then also the factoring side. I've been looking at doing some factoring for my brokerage.
Yeah.
And I've been getting some rates.
Mhm.
And but I can tell you again, for like, I don't know, it's like the 10th time I've told you this, that if I don't get my $1 million, none of this means anything.
Right. And so here's what we'll do for you. I can confidently tell you that these services do mean something for you. And I want to get that as clear as possible, that these services will save you millions of dollars. They have over the last 6 years. Your drivers continue to benefit from them, and moving to our competitor will only cost you in the future. Now, in terms of your actual question, you mentioned how much does a Tri-Tet actually cost?
A retread tire.
Yeah. So typically to replace a tire, it's anywhere from $300 to $600.
Mhm.
One of the benefits that your drivers are getting is that every single time they spend money on fuel, they can actually use those points at Speedco. And so you're saving money in the long run by buying gas at our stores and by saving money by using our Speedco. Now, you mentioned factoring. We still have plenty of time left. Who do you currently use for a factoring service?
So I don't. So what I want to do is I want to do it myself through my brokerage.
Right.
So Bank First, who
Yeah.
I've done all my banking with for a long time, and
Yeah.
they've never lost me $1 million, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've offered me a 0.5% below prime.
0.5% below prime. And now, what specific percentage is that for that factoring service?
You don't know what the prime is.
What's the prime in your guys' industry? Yes. What's that looking like for a percentage form?
So it's probably looking at about 2.5%.
2.5%
Mhm.
of the entire account.
So prime is 3%.
You have to charge 2.5% by your bank.
No.
Oh my goodness. Well, here's what I can tell you. Love Services, the most expensive fee that we charge is 2%.
Mhm.
So we're actually a full percent below what standard is. In
Mhm.
fact, if you guys bundle together our services, we can actually go as low as 0.55% on our factoring services. Now, again, this is a new concept. I just kind of want to hear what your thoughts are.
Mm-hmm. That sounds too good to be true.
It sounds too good to be true. Well, you can believe it. Love's has been one of the largest privately owned businesses for years.
Yeah.
We have the cash reserves and we have the industry standard to charge rates that low.
I'm glad you do, because you owe me $1 million.
Because you're getting access to all of these services as well. So far you've asked one major question, which is factoring services. What other questions do you have for me?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Perfect. Well, hey, I hope what I wanted to do today is to translate that the value that we provide you is worth more than any inconvenience or setbacks that we might cost. Did I demonstrate that clearly today?
Marginally.
Marginally. Well, that's good enough for me. And the biggest thing I want to convince you of is that we are worth it. Again, I fully apologize for any inconvenience, any cost that we might have added to you. But when you bundle together and lay out all of these services like this, an incident of $1 million just doesn't seem like that much. So here's what I want to do for you.
Disagree wholeheartedly, because what happens is, what do other people driving down the road that sees my truck on the side of the road laid over in a crash, what do you think they think?
Well, I think they better call Love's Emergency Roadside Assistance Service because AAA won't get out there as fast.
But my point is what do you think people are going to think? They're going to think that Del Brown Trucking has trucks that crash.
And I want to make certain that does not happen again. And so
Yeah.
that's why we actually provide an emergency roadside assistance tool for you to use.
I don't think
If you-
roadside service is going to help a truck with this crash.
It will definitely make a big dent. Now, here's the agreement that we have right now. As you demonstrated, we can provide your company value over the long term, which more than accounts for this.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have any contracts or cancellation fees.
Mhm.
All this is a written agreement that you promise to commit to use our services
Yeah.
and that you won't use our competitors. Just go ahead and sign that whenever you're ready.
Yeah, there's no chance that's not getting signed until I get my $1 million.
Yeah, so here's what I can do for you. As a representative of Love's,
Mhm.
why don't we go ahead and guarantee that whatever costs we caused your business, we'll just go ahead and pay back in full. Does that sound fair?
So you'll write on there that you'll pay me back $1 million.
We can go ahead and do that.
You have the ability to do that?
Yes, I do.
So Todd will, that Jeremy gave you full authority to pay you back the $1 million?
Well, like you said,
That's awesome.
I'm here, not Jeremy. So I'm the representative of Love's. Just
Man.
go ahead and sign that whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'll have my attorney look at this, but, I commit to paying back $1 million.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll give this to my attorney.
Yeah, in fact, we want to go ahead and get this business started as soon as possible. Would you mind just go ahead and sign it now?
I do mind.
Yeah, what questions do you have for me that the attorney might answer?
Well, I'm not an attorney, that's why I hire him, but, I'm impressed that you have the ability to pay back the $1 million. And so, I'm assuming this deal would still be, valid tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Is this a one-time deal or not?
I would love to make it a one-time deal just so we can make certain to get things going. But for you, Dale, I think because we owe your business so much, why don't we go ahead and extend this to tomorrow? You have my contact information?
Yep.
Okay,
I
here's
got it.
my business card just in case you need it.
Okay.
Go ahead and email that finalized form. Feel
Yep.
free to fax it over.
Will do.
Great. Really appreciate your time, Dale. Hope
Thanks,
you have a
Tim.
great rest of your day.
Yep.
See you around.
See ya.
You got a drink of water? Okay.
All right, are we ready for the?
Just 1 minute real quick.
I think actually, hold on one second. I may. We're
I was thinking aloud, I was like,
Yeah, we're live.
So,
Whenever you want.
yep, come in.
Hi, you must be Mr. Brown.
I am.
Great to meet you. Amanda Woodley, Fleet Sales Representative at Love's.
I made it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Yeah.
You know, I first just want to say congratulations to you. I saw that you guys just hit your 25-year anniversary, and just wanted to hear from your perspective, what has that journey been like for you?
Well, it's it's a roller coaster, ups and downs.
Absolutely.
And today would be a down.
Oh,
So are you aware of the situation that happened in Guthrie today?
so I actually did just 5 minutes ago get a call from Todd Wilson, but what I'm here to do today, I really wanted to hear from your perspective, what we can do, what do we need to do today to secure a partnership now and into the future?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. I'm going to be very direct.
Please do.
It's going to cost me $1 million what happened.
Okay.
So are you aware of the incident? Because I want to make sure that you are, so that you understand the severity of it.
Please, in your words, please describe it to me. I'd love to hear your
Sure.
perspective.
So one of my trucks stopped at your Guthrie location,
Okay.
needed a tire,
Mhm.
and they changed the tire. One of your mechanics left the four-way tool out, and my truck rolled over it, punctured the wheel. We got about half a mile down the road, and it caused my truck to flip over and crash.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And I haul aviation equipment for Cessna.
Okay.
There's $1 million worth of cargo in
Wow.
there. So it's $1 million loss.
Great. I'm really sorry to hear that.
It's terrible. I mean, it's going to be on the news. It's going to be on everything. So before we can move forward with anything, is I got to have some kind of assurance that Love's is going to cover this $1 million, because that's the only kind of people I'm going to do business with. Because this is a problem.
Okay.
It's $1 million.
Absolutely. And I understand the impact of that on your business is drastic. So just to clarify, you're saying that before we move forward, you would want us to supply or pay for that $1 million.
I would want some kind of assurance of the $1 million.
Okay. Well,
I'm assuming you don't have $1 million on you.
right. Not in my pockets, unfortunately. But while I might not necessarily be able to provide you with $1 million right now, that is absolutely something that I want to look into with you. So we are that partner here at Love's, and that I'm really sorry to hear that, because that is just not the culture and not who we are as a company. Sure.
Accidents happen.
Absolutely.
But this is $1 million.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
Absolutely. So I definitely want to look further into that and see what we can do to repay or figure out some way to find a solution to that problem. So while right now I can't promise you $1 million, I can promise that especially me, I will give you my personal guarantee, the full force of who I am and my team behind me will be looking into this to get you where we need to get you.
Okay.
Does that clarify or give you that assurance that you're seeking?
Well, what I would say is, so you're going to have to talk to somebody to get this answer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You got a cell phone?
I don't on me, unfortunately.
You don't have a
I
cell
left
phone
it in
on
my
you?
car.
Okay, well, why don't you go to your car? Why don't you go call somebody and find out to make sure that this is going to get taken care of? Because nothing else matters. If I'm not going to get some kind of assurance that you guys are going to be able to take care of this $1 million,
Right.
I'm really not going to do business with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like, at least who'd you say your boss was?
So I work with Todd Wilson.
Okay, so I would advise you to call him.
Okay.
I don't know what his status is with the company, but I would like for you to at least be able to make sure, because you didn't know about all this incident. I just filled you in.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that he knows about it by now.
Absolutely.
And so if you can have a quick phone call with him to tell me that this is going to be taken care of, we can continue on. If he's too busy to take the call, or you don't think it's worth the time, then there's really no reason for us to go on further.
Well, I absolutely believe that it is worth the time, because I
Good.
understand that impact in your business is
It's $1 million
like I
bucks.
said, it's drastic. That's a huge portion of money.
Yeah.
So I want to give you my personal assurance right now that I will look into that. But before we move forward, would you be able to just give me some insights? I spoke with your two children earlier this week, and
Yep.
they gave me some insights on where you guys are going with Brown. And before I go and make that call, I'd love to just get some more insights from you on what direction are you taking it? How can we partner with you?
And I appreciate that, but there ain't no reason to partner if I'm not gonna get any kind of reassurance. So
Okay.
if you think this Todd Wilson's too busy to take your call, then I guess don't call.
Well, it's not that I don't think that he's too busy to take my call. It's just in the interest of time today, because I know you're a very busy man as well. I want to
Do you
be
think
sure.
there's anything more important than $1 million?
Right at this moment, you're right. No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
Okay. I know as well, so $1 million. So I know, of course, time is money for you, and saving money is really important. And I know that we talked about discount rates in other meetings with your children as well.
Sure.
I don't know if at this time, just for a long-term view of saving money over this long term, could we talk a little bit more about that, just for now?
But I'm
And
not
then-
gonna do any of that if I'm not gonna get any kind of assurance that you guys are gonna stand behind and pay me $1 million. Other than that, if you're not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do business with the company.
Okay. Well, like I said, we will work with you as much as we can to do that. Can I make a deal with you? Can we come to a consensus here right now? How about if we talk about some of the long-term goals? After this meeting, me and you can go and we can call Todd together and we could really work this out after this meeting. Would that be okay?
I would rather you go call Todd right now, because the rest of it's a waste of my time.
Okay. Okay, so just,
I would just make sure he knows, if he gives some kind of reassurance, then we can continue this conversation. If he doesn't, or if he's not sure, or he doesn't want to take your phone call, then I guess we're not going to stop
okay. Well, give me just one moment and I will
Sure.
go and I'll be right. So he wasn't available right now, but like I said, when I spoke to him before this meeting,
He wasn't available?
he didn't take my call right at this very moment. But like I said, before this meeting, he did call me and he did tell me about the situation and the severity of it. And with that in mind, he let me know that we will be with you all the way. And while we will have to talk to our finance department and get all different things in check to figure out exactly how much we're going to help work with you through this.
It's $1 million. It's simple.
Absolutely. Just on our end. And of course, with the liability of it being at a Love's stop, of course, that is something we're going to have to look in further and really get the nitty gritty details of. And I mean, if you think about it in terms of your company as well, so if something happened for you on the road, you'd want to know all the details and all the fine print before you just cash out $1 million check. Would that be
I'm not
right?
asking you to write me a
Okay.
check today. I'm asking just for assurance that it is. I appreciate the fact that you took the time to call him. And I would hope that your phone is loud enough so that if he calls, that you can take that phone call,
Absolutely.
because I can assure you there's nothing we're going to talk about more important today than my $1 million.
Okay, well, I will show you right now. We will look into that and we will absolutely work with you through that. Is that enough assurance for you, just for the time being, so that we can at least have some semblance of
Yep.
talking about long-term relationship moving
I
forward?
just sure hope that this Todd Wilson's smart enough to call you back.
Absolutely. Well, moving forward, I'd love to just hear from your perspective right now, setting the $1 million aside just for one moment.
Hard to do.
What can, absolutely, what can we do for you today to give you assurance long-term savings with that mindset? What can we do for you today to move forward?
Well, it's really hard to get the $1 million, because this is the big deal, right?
Absolutely.
So my family name's on the trucks.
Absolutely.
But if I try to look past that and assume that you guys are going to make good for this,
Yep.
the one thing is the fuel savings, is that Pilot Flying J is continuing to beat you by a penny.
Okay,
And so that's money that I'm making.
okay,
So, and our drivers prefer to go to Love's. I get it. I understand your rewards program. I've heard about it. I hear about it all the time. I know that it's superior to pilots. I get it.
Absolutely.
I understand that. But that's something for the drivers.
okay,
Okay. And so, and I want them to be happy. So in a perfect world, I save money on fuel and they get their points. But what happens is today is I have some of these drivers that are stubborn and continue to go to Pilot or continue to go to Love's when I'm trying to get them to go to Pilot to save their money. So
okay,
what you can do today, to answer your question, is you can make your price better.
okay. So just to clarify what you're saying you want a decreased price on the fuel rates of your fleet.
There you
Is
go.
that correct? Okay. So right now, is Pilot doing anything maintenance-wise to support you?
No, they don't. They don't have,
Okay.
they don't have much in the way of shops or
Okay.
tires, anything like that.
Gotcha.
They don't.
So what are you doing right now,
Well,
as
I
far as
was
maintenance goes?
using Speedco, one in
Okay.
Guthrie,
Gotcha,
saw that happened.
yeah, okay. Sorry about that again, I do
Mhm.
apologize.
Well, it wasn't your fault, you weren't there,
Right.
but, I fully expect you to
Okay.
follow up with me on this very quickly.
I absolutely will. So when it comes to maintenance and making sure your drivers are on the road, your daughter actually mentioned to me that you guys do a lot of maintenance in-house. So
Mhm.
my question to you has been, have you seen any kind of blowouts or anything on the road recently related to maintenance that, what are the implications of having it in-house versus using Speedco and things like that?
Well, we've had, for the most part, we've had some good experiences at Speedco. I think there was one or two instances that I think, my daughter might have mentioned to you where there was a cause a load to be about an hour late, cost us
Yeah.
some money. But by and large, you're in the lanes that we're at.
Okay.
So, for us, it's buying retreads,
Mhm.
as
Okay.
we come into the summer season, is making sure that the pricing on that is good pricing for the retreads because we utilize retreads.
Yep.
So again, saving money on that is
Okay.
important.
Absolutely.
The quality of a retread is important,
Absolutely.
but the price is important because we go through a lot of them, particularly in the summertime.
Okay. So right now, retreads, are you running Love's retreads or others?
A mix.
Okay.
We've done, and Marty would probably know better, or Matthew would know better, but
Okay.
I would say that probably 25 to 50% of our tires, retreads are probably coming from Love's.
Okay, so just to clarify, so right now where you guys are at, you're upset that your drivers are going to Love's instead of flying J's because of the discount, and then
Sure.
additionally, you're looking, futuristically speaking, to run more retreads moving forward.
I'm going to continue to run retreads. What I'd like to do is have a partner that's going to give me a better deal because I focus my attention on my tires to there.
Okay,
If I'm buying my fuel from Love's, then I would buy my tires from Love's.
okay,
But if Love's will pay me my $1 million, it isn't really going to make two shits of a difference whether it's tires or fuel
okay,
because I'm need my money.
right, absolutely. And we definitely will address that.
Yeah.
Just want to continue giving that assurance because we are that partner for you, and I want to prove that to you today.
Mhm.
So thinking about retreads and maintenance and moving forward, if you weren't able to have that on the road, what are some implications of that for you and your business?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to, especially in the summertime, you have to have a program in place
Mhm.
because tires are going to blow out. It's just the
Absolutely.
nature of the business and the
Yeah.
heat. So you got to have a good program in place.
Okay.
So that when a truck does that happen, they're not on the side of the road for a long period of time.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with me.
So that's very important. Again, time is money.
Absolutely, time is money. So if you were able to keep your drivers off the side of the road with retreads running by Love's, as well as lower a fuel discount rate,
Mhm.
what would that do for you and your company? Would you be willing to talk about a partnership long term?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I'd love in the next couple minutes here to show you some of the things that we have with our retreads and as well as ways that we can get that discount rate lowered for you.
Yeah, there's one other thing too.
Okay.
And I don't know that Marty talked to you about this or not, but we're looking at doing our own factoring.
Oh, okay.
Our own factoring business, and I understand that Love's has something.
Yeah.
Again, that's another way we could possibly partner.
Okay.
But I've been doing business with BankFirst for a long time.
Okay.
And by the way, they've never cost me $1 million. So they've been a long time business partner of mine,
Okay.
and they've offered me a really competitive rate.
Gotcha.
And so that's another business I know that you guys do.
Yep, absolutely.
So I would be interested in that.
Okay, and I definitely want to be able to touch on all of that. So in the next couple minutes, I'd love to just show you some of those things. And like I said at the end, would you be willing to maybe talk about partnership or seeing what that would look like?
A lot of it will depend on the $1 million.
Okay, sounds good. Well, first I want
I'm
to.
surprised they haven't called you about it.
Yeah, I do apologize for that. I'm sure, like I said, after this meeting, if we still don't hear back from him, I want you and I to personally call him and
Mhm.
maybe even talk about those details further as
Sure.
well.
I
Just
don't know if he's going to want to hear from me, but go ahead.
I do want to give you that assurance. So the first thing that you talked about with me is, of course, the discount rate and lowering that. The way that our Love services works, the more that you work with us, the more we can bundle prices and actually get that rate lower for you. You mentioned earlier too that right now Flying J's has nothing for maintenance, no kinds of retreads, no kind of shops. So while right now for the short term that 1 cent difference is saving you money, long term thinking about having proactive reactions to doing this preventative maintenance and working with us in those ways is going to have a far more impact as well as us being able to meet that the more you bundle and use. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So I wanted to show you our retreads as well. So you mentioned that that's something that you wanted to run, and if you were to fuel with us, then you would also use our retreads. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the retreads today.
Oh, okay.
Because even though I'm not buying all my fuel from you, because Pilot Flying Day doesn't have retreads.
Okay, so you're doing a mix of that right now?
I'm doing it.
Okay, so I did want to show you really quickly here. So our retread program is by far the largest, has the largest industry-leading warranty out of any other brand in the industry.
Mhm.
So you mentioned you want to have assurance, especially for that $1 million, but assurance that a partner is going to stand with you all of the way. And that's exactly what we do with our guaranteed industry-leading warranty. So no matter what happens with your retreads, again, we will refund you the full price of that, as well as being with you through anything that might come as a result of that.
Mhm.
Another thing that I wanted to show you is our 5-step process as well that we use for inspecting tires. So these are by far the most inspected retreads on the road, as well as the most highly warranty guaranteed as well. So first we take it through an initial inspection, buffing and x-ray, packing repair, retreading it, and then a final inspection. And you mentioned that more importantly than anything else, you're looking for a cost-effective retread. Is that correct?
Of course, yeah.
So what we'll do as well is we can actually buy those casings from you
Mhm.
and use it to give you credits towards those retreads as well, saving you money in the
Mhm.
long term.
Roughly about how much do you get for that credit? How much credit do you get per tire?
So just to clarify, you're asking per tire, how much do we get?
Yeah, you said you give your credit towards the new tire.
So that would completely depend on the quality of the casing
Okay.
that's coming back into us.
Okay.
But so it's a case by case basis, of course, but we will give you that credit.
Okay.
So I know we're running short on time today, and I
Yeah.
know we have to make that call together in just a
Mhm.
couple minutes after our
Mhm.
meeting. But what I want to assure you today, the more that you use our services, the more that you work with us, we can not only match Pilot, we can beat them,
Okay.
both in the short term and in the long term, with doing this preventative maintenance to make sure that things don't happen again on the side of the road.
Right.
How comfortable are you right now making that partnership deal or moving forward?
I'm moderately comfortable. I'll be very comfortable once I get assurance on $1 million.
Absolutely, and I definitely do want to have that conversation after. Would you be okay today, right now, giving a tentative, of course, with the $1 million in the balance, but a tentative yes to moving forward and partnering with us long term?
I would like to move forward on getting specific pricing.
Okay.
And talk about the factoring more.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would like to talk about that.
Okay.
But again, all that goes away if I can get my $1 million.
Right, and you mentioned factoring again too. That's actually a part of our bundle process as well. So the more you use factoring, again, we can talk about lower rates.
Okay.
Everything
Great.
else. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dale. Do you want to go ahead and step out?
I want to definitely talk to this guy.
Sounds good. Well, again, thank you. It was great to
Yep.
meet you.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks.
Oh my goodness. That was, hey guys, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. See you in a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me do this. We've got one that needs to use the restroom quickly before. So test 1, 2.
Still waiting on that line.
It's gonna.
Mhm.
I apologize.
Slow service around here, so
I
we
know.
affect the tip.
Alright, so
We're ready. We can blame Uber Dash or DoorDash. Okay, when I go in, you can knock. Yeah, when I go in, you can knock. When you enter, I will start the timer at 15 minutes. And you can go
Remember I said over there? Sorry.
So you're not checking me.
Hi Dale, how are you today?
Not great.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I work right with Lush Travel Stops.
Mhm.
Why did you not great today?
Well, I don't know if you heard or not what happened in Guthrie, I guess just a little bit earlier today at one of your locations.
Yes, I did. I was actually going to address that today.
Good.
It actually was at the Speedco location.
That's right.
And so I do first off want to apologize about it because unexceptional service is not okay and is not upholding our core value of customer service here at Love's. And so, but I am curious, I wasn't able to get any details on the
Mhm.
specific situation. So were you able to have any details on this?
I got all the details.
Okay.
So one of our trucks stopped at where your speed goes there to get a tire replaced. And we changed the tire,
Okay.
and the mechanic left the four-way tool out in front of the truck. So when it pulled out, it punctured the tire. And so we got about a quarter of a mile, half mile down the road, and we crashed and flipped over our truck. And all the payload in it, that's aviation equipment, destroyed. So I'm $1 million loss.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine why you aren't having a good day then. I do
Yeah,
apologize.
there's a million reasons why I'm not having a good day.
Yes. First off, that is something that is not acceptable.
Right.
And I will assure you that I personally am going to be handling this situation. In terms of the service, I obviously don't, I'm not directly with them, but I can assure you that we will either get that worker more training, or we can make sure that we are having more safety precautions in those. But with the tire puncture, as you mentioned, it ultimately let the truck crash, correct? And so with this, I just am curious as to how we're going to actually be impacted in the long run, because yes, you're
Well,
$1 million.
what would happen if I took $1 million from you? Would you be impacted?
Yes, absolutely not. And so the $1 million, what I first want to assure you is that I can help work alongside you to help not only recover this $1 million, but making sure that that service is going to be improved in the future. We do work alongside our customers because we know that things do happen, even though unpredictable things, but this again is not acceptable.
Mhm.
And so what I talked about with Marty and Matthew, both of your sons, is they also had a few issues with our speed locations and just service taking a longer time. But we did mention that there were some impactful
Yeah.
ways that.
Yeah, and that's all good and fine and what we were originally going to talk about, but I need some assurances first about this $1 million, because frankly, if I don't get reimbursed $1 million, I don't give two shits about the other stuff. So I need some kind of assurance from you that that's going to be taken care of.
Yes.
So I understand if you don't have the ability to do that, I get it, then you need to call somebody that does.
Okay. Well, I can assure you, I will work with my upper level management to work along this issue, because you're right, $1 million out of your pocket is not acceptable, and it's going to be impacting you in a negative way. We really value our customer service, and so at Brown Transportation, y'all are a loyal customer. We want to make sure we're taking care of you.
Absolutely.
So again, I apologize, and it is something we'll work on. I cannot give you any tangible things as of right now, as it is upper level management, but I'll be sure to follow up with you actually tomorrow, as I'll be able to contact my manager from there and see what we can do.
Well, then we wouldn't need to continue this meeting until tomorrow. So what my advice would be is you probably need to communicate to somebody in the airport management before we go forward.
Okay. You know what? Let me just go shoot him a call really quick, and then I'll get right back to you. Is that okay?
I would appreciate that.
Okay, Dale, good news. Like I said, I want to make sure that I'm doing things properly and ethically, so I did want to check with my boss before we continued. He did say that this is something that we will work alongside.
Okay.
We're actually working with our insurance department, and starting since today is Friday, it'll start. We're going to put in the claim today, and we'll get more information on Monday since our insurance just doesn't work Saturday and Sunday. And the first thing in the morning at 8 a.m., I will send you an email or even call you. Which one would you prefer?
Both.
Okay, I can do both.
$1 million.
Yes, I understand, and I will do both just to make sure we're on the same page and it can alleviate any concerns or questions you may have from there. And I do assure you that this is something that we are working alongside you and will not be forgetting it.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate them answering it. So if you feel confident that you're going to be able to take care of this, is what I'm hearing from you. Because this is important, because if it doesn't get taken care of, again, no matter what else we talk about, it's irrelevant.
I understand that.
Okay.
And again, our customer service is one of our core values.
Sure.
And so if we're not upholding that, then what are we doing in our company, right?
Great.
And so it is something that we are valuing in your company with Browns.
Mhm.
So with that being said, at my previous meetings with Matthew and Marty, we discussed some of the impactful ways that Tire Pass as well as the loyalty program could benefit Loves. By any chance, were they able to share any of this information with you, or would you like me to fill you in?
No, they kind of filled me in on a lot of it. And again, I try to let them handle as much as they can handle.
Excellent.
So the couple of things that my takeaways from it is that Pilot Flying J currently gives us a better fuel deal.
By 1 cent.
So they're saving us money for that. And so my question just simply is, why is it that Pilot Flying J can give me a better deal than you can? Today, we do give Loves still business gallons that really shouldn't be. We just have a lot of stubborn drivers that continue to go to Loves because of your rewards program. So I get it. You have the best industry rewards program out there. And I know my drivers love it, but it costs me money. I'm the one that pays for the fuel. And so I appreciate what you're doing for the drivers, but it negatively affects my income because I'm saving money when I go to Pilot Flying J.
I do have a question for you. So I see how up front it looks like it's negatively impacting your income. However, if your driver's not motivated to even get your deliveries there on time and uphold your core value of reliability, how do you think that would impact your service if they're not motivated and the deliveries don't make it there on time?
Well, they're not going to be very motivated.
Exactly, because that's what with the loyalty program, they are motivated. They're getting to stop and they get to have food, a shower, refresh, just a nice place to take a stop, get their fuel, get things they need to get done, but also take care of themselves and feel valued as an employee. But if they didn't have these things with our rewards program, they may even leave the company and have high retention rates.
It's possible.
So while it does seem like there's 1 cent that you're paying, that's what you're paying is you're paying 1 cent in return of cost. While the loyalty program is free, you're paying 1 cent more to go to Loves, but there's also other services that
I'm paying 1 cent more. They're not.
Yes.
They're the drivers.
Yes,
I'm
that's
paying the
correct.
bill.
Sorry if I clarified that.
That's
Yes,
okay.
it's you.
Yeah.
You're paying their cent. But it is something that you're going to pay fuel regardless. So why not make your drivers the most happy at Loves compared to Pilot? You haven't spoke anything about them liking Pilot's reward program, but really liked how they liked ours. And
They do like yours.
ultimately, so not only is the reward program going to be beneficial, but there's also other services that we offer at Loves, such as Tire Pass, that you can be getting done while you're fueling. So it's not like you're just getting this 1 cent less or 1 cent more technically at Loves, but you're getting all these other services that would be beneficial for you down the road. Helps prevent tire blowouts, helps prevent truck maintenance. If there is something that comes up, we have a truck service right there that can help you. Whereas Pilot doesn't necessarily have that, where they can't just go get you back to your yard or many other reasons, and actually maybe have a late delivery.
But I could always do what I'm doing now because I am buying some retreads from you today. So I can always buy my fuel from Pilot and I can get my tires from you, right?
You can, that is allowed by all means, as we have been doing our service with tires. But with the fuel program, it's going back to that loyalty program, right? You mentioned how you're already going to purchase the fuel regardless, whether it is at Pilot or Loves. So let's pretend you do go to Pilot. Your drivers are not going to be happy, and it's going to, if your drivers aren't happy, how do you think that's going to impact Brown's transportation down the road?
It's negative, but if I don't save money, then I don't continue to save money and grow, then I'm not going to be in business.
Yes.
So,
well, I see your part that it is negative, but if you also don't have drivers to fulfill your deliveries, you're also going to be losing money. So there is some type of payoff when you look at it that way. If your drivers aren't going to be happy and they're not going to be motivated to fulfill the deliveries that you expected them to do, they're going to leave the company and maybe go somewhere else. And you're going to be shortage on drivers therefore not fulfilling your deliveries and not being reliable in your reputation.
I agree. Wouldn't this be easier if you just gave me another penny discount?
It would, I'd agree. But unfortunately, our price at Love's is set. Again, that's not something that's in my control. It's very much up corporate.
Same person you called before?
Not necessarily. It's a company wide, as we do have 546 locations across the nation. And so it's not so something that I have the power to change. But like I said, there's way more benefit in actually having our tire pass program, our trucks, like you said, you're already using our tires and the retread. Rather, you're doing all of that at Love's, whereas just getting a cent cheaper at Pilot, how much money do you really think you're going to save on that?
Well, $2,000 a week.
It's been calculated on that?
Nice.
And then how much are you spending on your maintenance if it's not at Love's?
Well, not counting $1 million.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, my maintenance, they can't do any of my maintenance. Pilot doesn't really have the capabilities to do that.
See, they don't have, then, while they don't have the capabilities to do that, let's say something does happen, your driver is on the road and the closest location, there's a Pilot and a Love's right across the street, okay? It's a cent cheaper to go to Pilot's, but they know that they need an oil change or they're not gonna make it to the delivery. So that way they need to choose Love's, they're gonna spend 1 more cent on a gallon, but they're also gonna have their oil change. Yes, you're gonna spend 1 more cent, but they're also gonna get their oil change, and that way we'll be able to make their delivery on time. Whereas they went with Pilot, they wouldn't have that. You would save a cent, but you're also spending a lot more money on oil change, trying to find somewhere else to get that done.
They'd have to go back. They'd have to go across the street to the Pilot, or they'd have to get the fuel at the Pilot and go across the street to the Love's.
And let me ask you this. How much more time do you think it's taking out of the delivery to go to Pilot, fuel up, then go all the way to Love's?
There's no doubt it would take 30 minutes to an hour more.
30 minutes to an hour more. If you showed up to your delivery 30 minutes to an hour or more, how do you think that's affecting your reputation and reliability?
We know exactly how much because it happened earlier. I think Marty told you about the incident that happened from one of your locations, made us an hour late. That cost us $1,800. So to answer your question, yeah, you're right. It's about $1,800.
So in weighing the cost there, would you then say that $1,800 is going to be worth how much money? You said $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
But that's $18 for one delivery. Let's multiply that by 5.
Sure.
How many deliveries do you say you're going to make a week?
A week for one truck?
Yes.
Should make about 20.
Exactly. So I mean that's a lot of money. And so while at front cost, I see your point. But I want you to see also the benefit of the convenience side of it. It's beneficial for your drivers to stay motivated with our loyalty program, as well as the convenience that we have our truck service and the fuel, diesel specifically right there. Instead of Pilot, you don't, and you're having to go outsource, spending more time, affecting your delivery times.
Right.
So with that being said, what I would actually like to do is just kind of reiterate the Tire Pass program and the retreads. I know you said you did want to buy retreads.
We are buying retreads. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Obviously, we bought a retread from you today.
So with that being said, with the time we have left, I did want to ask you, do you have any questions about those programs? You said you were informed about them. I can definitely reiterate those, but also just want to answer any questions.
I think I understand those. One other thing that I would bring up, and again, all this is still contingent on the fact that I'm going to get reimbursed by $1 million. If that doesn't happen, everything else here just does not matter to me.
Yes.
But I'm going to do a factoring program with my brokerage. And so I understand Love's does factoring as well.
We do.
And so I would be looking for some partnership with that as well. If Love's was interested in that. But I've got some pretty aggressive quotes. And so that would be another way that we could partner. But again, I'm only going to partner with somebody that's got my back.
I completely understand that. And I feel as if Matthew and Marty, in their circumstances when there was incidents, I do want to assure you that I had their back in those moments, as I already
hope it wasn't
assured.
any other $1 million ones, because I think I know about those.
Absolutely not. They were not. I can assure you that. But I did help them and assist that issue. We actually increased our employees at five employees, from 40 to 45 employees at our current location, after talking to Trevor Stoops and making sure that we are fulfilling our workload there. And so specifically back to the factoring program, here's kind of the overview of what it is and some of the details behind it.
Right.
But with that being said, what did you like about the other factoring programs so much compared to maybe Love's?
I've been doing all my bank with Bank First since I've been in business. Long-term partnership with them. And what they've promised me is a 0.5% below prime is a variable rate, is what it would be.
Okay.
So that's very aggressive and very lucrative to me.
Mhm.
That would mean a lot of money in our pocket.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of numbers you have to beat.
Excellent. Okay, well, what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm giving you an accurate quote. I'm
Yeah.
not just going to give you a quote right now
Appreciate
because I do value it, and we are competitive in our pricing. I can assure you that, as again, we do value as a customer. And so with our factoring program, we just want to make sure that we can help assist you and be a resource for you in any way we're doing.
Sure.
So in terms of next steps from here, as we are running out of time, and I did want to be respectful of your time. And so what I want to do is, are you moving forward with the retread, correct? Have you already bought one today?
I bought one today. It didn't do me any good, but yeah, I did.
Okay.
But we bought some retreads in the past.
Excellent.
So I would be interested to see what the retread pricing would look like if we bought all of our retreads from you.
Pricing, excellent. And we touched on Tire Pass. We also touched on the pricing of Tire Pass in our last meeting with Matthew. Was he able?
$10.
Yes.
Is that right?
$10. If it's $5 for the trailer and $5 for the truck, but if you do all together, it's 10 each time. Again, it's just something that's making sure that it's a preventative measure. It's not something that has to be done every single time, but we do encourage it to be done often. As we again have those reports that will be sent.
And again, if I'm buying my fuel from you, then I'm interested in that.
Yes.
But if I'm not buying my fuel from you, then it is.
Yes. Well, as we did discuss, it's more convenient buying our fuel. Would you agree with that? It would be more convenient to buy fuel with us?
Yeah.
And so the convenience, would you say, would you be willing to spend, actually, you know what? I'm just going to do the math really quick on our earlier. So you mentioned how you're going to spend $1,800 if your delivery is late, and you do 20 per week, right? So that continues to happen. You go from Pilot's Diesel to Love's Truck Stops. It's actually going to cost you $36,000 a week. So we went from $2,000 a week in gas to $36,000. So would you agree that is negatively impacting your company in terms of sales revenue?
If that math was right.
I can explain. I did 1,800 times 20. 20 cents. Well, I did 20 because it's 20. You said you did 20 deliveries. So it'd be 1,800 times 20 for the weeks, 36,000. And so that's where that came from. So would you agree that if you would rather it'd be more convenient and better for your company at Brown Transportation if you actually went ahead and did Love's services and our diesel compared to Pilot?
As long as it didn't cause me to be late or crash the load and cost me $1 million, yes.
Okay. Well, that is something that I want to create an open line of communication. If something like that does happen, please reach out to me directly, and that's something I will assist on you.
For sure.
But I can assure you, moving forward, we are making steps to increase our customer service. Like I said, it is our core value. So again, I do apologize. Let's actually go ahead and set up a meeting. You said you wanted information on the retread pricing as well as the freight factoring, correct?
Yeah, but what's the first thing that you're going to get back to me on?
I'm going to get back to you on the $1 million at Monday, 8 a.m.
Matters after that.
You're correct.
Yeah.
I will be doing that. Are you going to text my manager after this? I'll send you a follow-up email as well as an agenda for next meeting for what to expect. And I'll talk to you Monday.
I will definitely be looking forward to a call about the $1 million.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so judges are going to deliberate and we will have a decision for you in just a few minutes and we'll have the awards ceremony. So I'm going to end the live stream. Thanks for watching CSI at OKC 2023.